Hi! Today I'm going to do a review of 2 graphic novels and 3 picture books. I'm lumping them together in this video as they're all sort of very visual books. I know they're not the same thing, and I usually don't really review picture books, but we were moving offices and there were lots of picture books behind, so I got some of these and read them and really enjoyed them, so I wanted to show them to you guys as well. How about I do a graphic novel in the beginning, 3 picture books in the middle, and a graphic novel at the end. First one, I could have sworn I'd already reviewed, but I went back to my videos and I couldn't find it, so here we go. And it is The Unwritten, Tommy Taylor and the Bogus Identity by Carey and Peter Gross. This is one that loads of people have told me about, mostly because of its connections with Harry Potter. It was a while ago that I read this, but if I remember correctly, it's about a guy called Tom, and his dad wrote a really famous book series called Tommy Taylor. It starts off with a bit from Tommy Taylor and the 3 friends sort of defeating the evil villain, and it's very obvious that this is like a parody of Harry Potter. And then it moves on to a convention center where Tom is actually signing his dad's books. So he's quite poor, going from convention to convention, living off of his dad's fame. And then slowly things from the book start seeping into the real world, and I just really enjoyed this. It is, as far as I know, a bind-up of the comics. There's lots of awesome references to books in general, and as usually with comic bind-ups, there is pretty covers and illustrations that are sort of throughout the whole thing. The only problem with it I had is that suddenly in the back it goes into a whole thing about, I think, Herman Melville, and one of the things that really bothered me is that they had a sort of handwritten font in it that was so hard to read, and I asked people on Twitter about how the lettering usually works in comic books, and some people say that a lot of the artists do it themselves because they might not have the money to outsource it, or some of them just really want to do it themselves, but that made the last part really hard to read, to the point where I almost just wanted to skip that. Another problem I'm having with bind-ups of comics is because I'm not used to comics, the story arc of it just goes like up and down, and it's made to be really short form, and so having that together really confuses me because I'm just used to really different sort of storytelling. Other than that, I really enjoyed it, and I think I will actually continue with this series and get the next one and see how I feel about it. Moving on to some picture books. First of all, we have Duck, Death and the Tulip. It's freaking huge. There's a cute duck on the cover. It's gonna be quite interesting talking about the plot of a picture book, but these are all picture books that really work for adults as well, and I think probably some of the best picture books do work for adults. And it's about a duck who one day runs into death. And I don't know if you can see this, but basically these really look like actual drawings that have been scanned in and cut out, and it's about ducks sort of becoming friends with death and coming to terms with death. And it's really gentle and really lovely and quite slow. Gorgeous pages like this. I don't want to spoil the ending, but it's quite dark, but I think it's a good one for sort of talking about death with kids, to be honest. Then there's one that I felt sort of in the middle of that. I really loved the drawings, but wasn't sure about the story, and it is called Jemmy Button by Jennifer Uman and Valerio Vidali. The Boy That Darwin Returned Home. And this is sort of set in, well, Darwin's time. It's basically about a little boy from South America who gets taken to London and then paraded around all of society, and he gets to meet the king and he gets a huge makeover. And it's about sort of his adventures and about how eventually he sort of returns home. There's really gorgeous, huge illustrations, particularly like this one with all the fish. It really has that sort of Victorian feeling to it. I thought the story was a bit weaker in this one. I mean, it's quite straightforward, and it does have a historical note in the back, which I really enjoy, so if you want to know a bit more about the story, you can find it in there. And then there's this one which is so cute, and it is Laika the Astronaut by Owen Davey. Look at the cute little astronaut dog! It's quite a sad story because Laika the astronaut dog actually got lost in space, but this book has a slightly happier ending. It's quite cute. Again, I don't want to reveal it, but I loved the drawing style of this. It's so cute. Also, there's loads of pigeons in here, and if you know me, you know that I love pigeons. The style of it is really interesting. I loved everything about this, and I'm actually gonna check out more about this illustrator because I just, yeah, completely fell in love with it and can highly recommend it. Finally, one that I've been hearing lots about, and it is Nimona by Noelle Stevenson, from fangirl cover illustration fame and also from just hilarious cartoons on the internet fame. And this is her first full graphic novel. The dedication, first of all, is awesome because it says, "To all the monster girls." It's about a supervillain called Lord Blackheart and about a girl who can sort of transform her body who's called Nimona, and who just decides to show up and be his sidekick. They fight against Sir Ambrosius Goldenloin. It's so funny. All the colors in it are absolutely amazing. She does really good like physical humor in this, which is funny. It's quite sarcastic. It's really self-aware. There are some dragons, and I sort of feel like if you liked the fanfic bits of Fangirl, then this is definitely one to look out for. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the sort of graphic novel, picture book, review, mashup. I'll put links to all of these in the description as usual. If you've read any of these, or if you have recommendations for me based on things that I talked about in this video, do let me know in the comments, and I will talk to you guys later. Doei!